The unjust arrest. The sun shone brightly over the playground, where laughter filled the air. Children ran around, playing tag and enjoying their freedom. Among them was 6-year-old Maya, a joyful little girl with bright eyes and a wide smile. She loved spending time at the park with her friends, chasing them and giggling at every turn. Today was just another fun day, but everything would change in an instant. As Maya darted across the soft grass, she felt happy and carefree. She was wearing a colorful dress that fluttered in the breeze, and her hair bounced with each step. She giggled as her best friend, Lisa, chased after her, trying to tag her. "You can't catch me," Maya shouted, her laughter echoing around the playground. But just a few yards away, Officer Reed was on patrol. He was known in the neighborhood for his strict demeanor and unfair treatment of people, especially black individuals. He believed he was always right and that he had the authority to control everything. Today, he was patrolling the park, looking for trouble. As he watched the children play, he noticed Maya running and playing without a care in the world. "Hey, you!" Officer Reed shouted, pointing directly at Maya. "Stop right there." Maya froze in place, confusion filling her face. She looked around, not understanding why the officer was shouting at her. "Me?" she asked, her voice small. "Yes, you," Officer Reed said, marching over with an angry expression. "What do you think you're doing? Running around like that? You think you can just do whatever you want?" Maya's friends stopped playing, their smiles fading as they realized something was wrong. "She's just playing," Lisa protested, stepping forward. She didn't do anything wrong. But Officer Reed ignored the children's protests. He approached Maya and grabbed her arm, causing her to gasp in shock. "I'm going to have to take you in for questioning," he said, his voice harsh. "You can't just run wild like this." Tears welled up in Maya's eyes as she looked at the officer. "I didn't do anything wrong, sir," she said, her voice trembling. "I was just playing with my friends." The other parents at the playground noticed what was happening. They began to gather around, their faces filled with disbelief and anger. "What are you doing?" one mother shouted, her hands on her hips. "She's just a little girl." Officer Reed turned to face the growing crowd. "I'm doing my job," he snapped. "This girl is causing trouble, and I won't allow it." "But she's not doing anything wrong," another father exclaimed. "You can't just grab her like that." Maya's heart raced. She was scared and didn't know why this was happening. All she wanted was to play with her friends. Her mother, Sarah, was at work, and she had promised to come to the park after her shift. Maya wished her mother was there to protect her. Just then, a voice called out from the edge of the park. "What's going on here?" It was Officer Collins, a friendly officer who had worked in the neighborhood for years. He had always treated the children with kindness and respect. Maya recognized him and felt a little safer knowing he was there. Officer Collins walked over, his eyes narrowing as he took in the scene. "What's the problem, Reed?" he asked, trying to understand the situation. This girl was running around, causing a disturbance. Officer Reed replied, still holding Maya's arm. "I'm just doing my job." Officer Collins looked at Maya, who was now shaking. He crouched down to her level and said softly, "Maya, are you okay? What happened?" Maya sniffled, her eyes wide with fear. "I was just playing with my friends, and he grabbed me." Officer Collins frowned, realizing how wrong this situation was. "Reed, you can't just grab a child without cause." "That's not how we do things," he said firmly. But Officer Reed was stubborn. "I don't care. She's a troublemaker, and I'm not letting her go until I get some answers." The crowd around them began to murmur, growing more restless. Parents were angry and confused. "You can't treat a little girl like this," one mother yelled. "This is outrageous." Just then, Maya's mother, Sarah, rushed into the park, her heart pounding. She had heard the commotion and ran as fast as she could. "Maya," she called out, her voice filled with panic. When she saw her daughter being held by the officer, her heart sank. "What's going on?" she shouted, pushing through the crowd. The unjust arrest. The sun shone brightly over the playground, where laughter filled the air. Children ran around, playing tag and enjoying their freedom. Among them was 6-year-old Maya, a joyful little girl with bright eyes and a wide smile. She loved spending time at the park with her friends, chasing them and giggling at every turn. Today was just another fun day, but everything would change in an instant. As Maya darted across the soft grass, she felt happy and carefree. She was wearing a colorful dress that fluttered in the breeze, and her hair bounced with each step. She giggled as her best friend, Lisa, chased after her, trying to tag her. "You can't catch me," Maya shouted, her laughter echoing around the playground. But just a few yards away, Officer Reed was on patrol. He was known in the neighborhood for his strict demeanor and unfair treatment of people, especially black individuals. He believed he was always right and that he had the authority to control everything. Today, he was patrolling the park, looking for trouble. As he watched the children play, he noticed Maya running and playing without a care in the world. "Hey, you!" Officer Reed shouted, pointing directly at Maya. "Stop right there." Maya froze in place, confusion filling her face. She looked around, not understanding why the officer was shouting at her. "Me?" she asked, her voice small. "Yes, you," Officer Reed said, marching over with an angry expression. "What do you think you're doing? Running around like that? You think you can just do whatever you want?" Maya's friends stopped playing, their smiles fading as they realized something was wrong. "She's just playing," Lisa protested, stepping forward. She didn't do anything wrong. But Officer Reed ignored the children's protests. He approached Maya and grabbed her arm, causing her to gasp in shock. "I'm going to have to take you in for questioning," he said, his voice harsh. "You can't just run wild like this." Tears welled up in Maya's eyes as she looked at the officer. "I didn't do anything wrong, sir," she said, her voice trembling. "I was just playing with my friends." The other parents at the playground noticed what was happening. They began to gather around, their faces filled with disbelief and anger. "What are you doing?" one mother shouted, her hands on her hips. "She's just a little girl." Officer Reed turned to face the growing crowd. "I'm doing my job," he snapped. "This girl is causing trouble, and I won't allow it." "But she's not doing anything wrong," another father exclaimed. "You can't just grab her like that." Maya's heart raced. She was scared and didn't know why this was happening. All she wanted was to play with her friends. Her mother, Sarah, was at work, and she had promised to come to the park after her shift. Maya wished her mother was there to protect her. Just then, a voice called out from the edge of the park. "What's going on here?" It was Officer Collins, a friendly officer who had worked in the neighborhood for years. He had always treated the children with kindness and respect. Maya recognized him and felt a little safer knowing he was there. Officer Collins walked over, his eyes narrowing as he took in the scene. "What's the problem, Reed?" he asked, trying to understand the situation. "This girl was running around, causing a disturbance," Officer Reed replied, still holding Maya's arm. "I'm just doing my job." Officer Collins looked at Maya, who was now shaking. He crouched down to her level and said softly, "Maya, are you okay? What happened?" Maya sniffled, her eyes wide with fear. "I was just playing with my friends, and he grabbed me." Officer Collins frowned, realizing how wrong this situation was. "Reed, you can't just grab a child without cause. That's not how we do things," he said firmly. But Officer Reed was stubborn. "I don't care. She's a troublemaker, and I'm not letting her go until I get some answers." The crowd around them began to murmur, growing more restless. Parents were angry and confused. "You can't treat a little girl like this," one mother yelled. "This is outrageous." Just then, Maya's mother, Sarah, rushed into the park, her heart pounding. She had heard the commotion and ran as fast as she could. "Maya," she called out, her voice filled with panic. When she saw her daughter being held by the officer, her heart sank. "What's going on?" she shouted, pushing through the crowd. "Maya, come here," Sarah cried, reaching out her arms. Officer Reed finally released Maya, but the damage was done. She ran to her mother, tears streaming down her cheeks. Sarah wrapped her arms around Maya, pulling her close. "It's okay, sweetheart. I'm here," she whispered, her voice trembling with anger and fear. Officer Collins stood beside them, trying to calm the situation. "Maya didn't do anything wrong," he said to Sarah. "This was a misunderstanding." But Officer Reed was not ready to back down. He looked at Sarah with disdain. "Your daughter was running wild," he insisted. "I was just doing my job to keep order." As the tension in the park reached its peak, Maya's innocence stood in stark contrast to the officer's aggression. The audience was left wondering how this unjust situation would unfold and what would happen next for Maya and her family. The aftermath. The sun began to set, casting a warm orange glow over the park as Maya and her mother, Sarah, sat on a bench, still shaken from the incident. Maya clutched her mother's hand tightly, her small fingers trembling. She looked up at Sarah, searching for comfort and reassurance. "Mommy, why did he grab me?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Sarah took a deep breath, her heart heavy with a mix of anger and sadness. "I don't know, sweetie. Sometimes people don't understand that children just want to play," she said softly, stroking Maya's hair. "But I promise you, you didn't do anything wrong. You were just having fun with your friends." Maya wiped her eyes, trying to hold back more tears. "I was scared, Mommy. I thought he was going to take me away." Sarah's heart broke at her daughter's words. She pulled Maya closer, wrapping her arms around her. "You're safe now. I'm here, and I won't let anyone hurt you," she reassured her. But deep down, she felt a growing anger towards Officer Reed for his behavior. Meanwhile, Officer Reed stood nearby, still trying to justify his actions to Officer Collins. "I was just following procedure," he insisted, crossing his arms defensively. "She was out of control, and I had to intervene." Officer Collins shook his head, clearly frustrated. "You can't treat a child like that, Reed. She was playing. There's a difference between being a police officer and being a bully," he replied firmly. The crowd around them began to disperse, but some parents lingered, watching the officers closely. They were not happy with how Officer Reed had treated Maya, and were discussing what they had witnessed. "That was unacceptable," one father said. "I'm going to file a complaint." As they spoke, Maya's friends approached, looking worried. Lisa, still visibly shaken, stepped forward. "Maya, I'm so sorry. I didn't know what was happening," she said, her voice filled with concern. "It's okay," Maya replied, trying to put on a brave face, but the fear still lingered in her eyes. As the group of friends gathered around her, Sarah felt a surge of pride. Maya had such caring friends who wanted to support her. She could see the bond between the children and how they rally together. "It's important to stick together," Sarah reminded them. "Friends look out for each other." At that moment, Sarah made a decision. She could not let this go. It was time to stand up for her daughter and all the children who had witnessed this injustice. "I'm going to speak to the police chief," she declared, determination filling her voice. "What happened today was wrong, and it shouldn't happen to any child." Maya looked up at her mother, her eyes wide. "But what if they get mad?" she asked, fear creeping back into her voice. Sarah knelt down to Maya's level. "Sometimes, speaking out is the only way to make things better. It's important for people to know when something is wrong, even if it's scary," she explained. "I'll be right there with you, and we can face it together." As they prepared to leave the park, Officer Collins approached Sarah. "I admire what you're doing," he said sincerely. "I'll support you if you decide to file a complaint. We need to make sure this doesn't happen again." "Thank you, Officer Collins," Sarah replied gratefully. "I just want my daughter to feel safe. No child should ever go through what she did." The walk home was filled with a heavy silence. Maya held onto her mother's hand tightly, her mind racing with thoughts about the day's events. She had always loved going to the park, but now it felt different. She couldn't shake off the feeling of fear and uncertainty. When they arrived home, Sarah sat Maya down and made her a warm cup of cocoa, hoping to comfort her. "You're so brave, Maya," she said, watching her daughter sip the hot chocolate. "You stood up for yourself today, even when you were scared." Maya managed a small smile. "But I didn't do anything," she replied, her voice still trembling slightly. "Exactly," Sarah said, her tone serious. "That's why it's important to tell others what happened. If we don't speak up, people might think it's okay to treat others that way. It's not just about you. It's about everyone." "Yes, I do," Sarah replied. "I believe we've taken the first step toward making things right. And you were so brave to speak up." Maya beamed, her confidence growing. They headed home, discussing how they could help other children who might face similar situations. "Maybe we can start a group for kids at school," Maya suggested. "We can teach them how to stand up for themselves." "That's a great idea," Sarah encouraged. "You can be a leader, Maya. You can help others feel safe, just like you should feel." As they entered their home, Sarah felt a wave of gratitude. Maya was such a strong little girl, and Sarah was proud of her for speaking out. "We can make a difference together," she said, hugging her daughter tightly. The next day at school, Maya felt nervous but excited. She shared her experience with her classmates. "I want to start a club to help kids who feel scared or alone," she told them. "We can learn how to stand up for ourselves." Her friends were enthusiastic. "That's awesome, Maya," Lisa exclaimed. "I want to join." As word spread, more kids wanted to be part of Maya's club. It became a place where they could talk about their feelings, learn about their rights, and practice standing up for one another. Maya felt proud. Days turned into weeks, and the police chief kept his promise. He informed Sarah that Officer Reed would undergo training to address his behavior. The news spread quickly through the community, and many praised Maya for her bravery. "You're a hero, Maya," her friends would say. One afternoon, as they practiced for an upcoming club meeting, Maya felt a sense of joy. She had taken a scary moment and turned it into something positive. "I never thought I could help other kids," she said, smiling. "You did it," Lisa cheered. "You showed everyone that we can make a change." As they planned their next meeting, Maya realized that she was not just a victim of an unjust arrest. She had become a voice for those who felt powerless. She learned that standing up for herself and others could create a ripple effect, inspiring change in her community. Maya was determined to keep fighting for what was right, and with her mother's support and the friendship of her peers, she knew they could create a brighter, safer future for all children. A community united. Maya's club quickly grew, and she felt a surge of pride. With her friends' support, they planned a community meeting to discuss safety and respect for everyone. As the date approached, excitement filled the air, but so did a bit of anxiety. What if no one comes? Maya wondered aloud to her mother. "They will," Sarah assured her, putting an arm around Maya's shoulders. "People care about what happens in our community, and they will want to support you." The day of the meeting arrived, and the small community center was buzzing with anticipation. Colorful posters adorned the walls, made by Maya and her friends, inviting everyone to join the conversation. Maya had written, "Let's stand together," in big letters, and her heart raced with excitement as she looked at the room filled with parents, children, and community leaders. As everyone settled in, Maya took a deep breath. "Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming," she said, her voice steady. "I'm Maya, and I want to talk about keeping our community safe and treating everyone with respect." The room fell silent, and she could feel the eyes on her. "A while ago, I had a scary experience with a police officer. It made me feel unsafe, and I didn't like it. But then I decided to speak up, and I want everyone to know that it's okay to talk about what happens to us." Maya felt the warmth of her mother's encouraging smile as she continued. We want to create a space where we can all share our experiences and help each other. It's important that everyone feels safe, especially our kids. After Maya spoke, Sarah took the floor. Maya has shown so much courage, and I'm so proud of her. We need to support our children and ensure they know they can always come to us with their worries. A hand shot up from the crowd. It was Mr. Thompson, a respected member of the community. I'm so glad you brought this up, Maya. It's essential that we address these issues together. We should also invite local police officers to discuss how they can better support our community. Maya nodded eagerly. That would be great. We can talk to them about what makes us feel safe and what doesn't. The meeting continued with passionate discussions. Parents shared their concerns about safety, while kids talked about their experiences. Sometimes it feels like adults don't understand how we feel, said one of Maya's friends. It's good to have a space where we can talk. As the meeting wrapped up, Maya felt a sense of accomplishment. They decided to hold regular meetings and invited local officers to participate. Together, we can make a difference, Maya said, beaming at her friends and family. In the following weeks, the club's momentum didn't stop. With every meeting, more and more families joined, and the sense of community grew stronger. Maya's voice became louder, and the conversations turned into actions. They began organizing community events, like neighborhood cleanups and safety workshops, to promote unity and awareness. One day, while organizing materials for a safety workshop, Maya received a call from Chief Daniels. Maya, I wanted to thank you for your bravery and leadership, he said warmly. I would like to invite you and your club to the police department next week to discuss how we can work together. Maya's heart raced with excitement. Really? That's amazing. Thank you. She hung up, a big smile spreading across her face. Mom, Chief Daniels wants us to go to the police station. Sarah smiled proudly. That's fantastic. You're making a real impact. Maya. The day of the visit arrived, and the club members gathered, their hearts pounding with anticipation. They walked into the police department, greeted by Chief Daniels and several officers. I'm so glad you could all make it, he said. Today, we want to hear your ideas on how we can improve our community and build trust. Maya stepped forward, clutching her notes. We've been talking about safety and respect, and we think it's important for police officers to connect with our community more. Maybe we could have regular events where kids and officers can meet and get to know each other. The officers listened attentively. Chief Daniels nodded. That's a great idea, Maya. We can plan community events together. It's vital for us to build strong relationships and trust. As the discussion continued, Maya felt a sense of hope. They talked about creating youth programs, neighborhood watch initiatives, and educational sessions on understanding the role of police. The officers agreed to be actively involved, wanting to bridge the gap between law enforcement and the community. Weeks passed, and the first event was planned, a family fun day at the park, featuring games, food, and opportunities for children to interact with police officers in a relaxed setting. Maya's excitement was palpable as she and her friends prepared. On the day of the event, the park buzzed with laughter and joy. Families gathered, and officers mingled with children. Maya felt proud watching her friends connect with the officers. This is what it's all about, she thought, her heart swelling with happiness. As the day came to a close, Chief Daniels approached Maya. Thank you for your leadership and for inspiring everyone today. This is just the beginning of a beautiful partnership. Maya beamed. I just wanted everyone to feel safe and happy. Thank you for listening to us. The community had come together, and Maya realized that her voice mattered. She had turned her fear into courage, inspiring others to join her. Together, they had started a movement toward unity, understanding, and respect. As they cleaned up the park, Maya felt a sense of purpose. She knew that even a small voice could make a significant impact. With her friends and community by her side, she was ready to continue the fight for a safer, more inclusive future. Building bridges. The Community Fun Day had been a great success, and Maya felt a new energy in the air. People were talking, laughing, and connecting in ways she had never seen before. The day was more than just a celebration. It was the beginning of a new chapter in their town. In the days following the event, Maya received many messages from her friends and neighbors. "I had so much fun at the park." One message read, "I can't wait for the next event." Everyone was excited about the idea of working together to create a safer and more welcoming community. Maya and her friends decided to hold regular meetings to discuss new ideas and plan more events. They wanted to keep the momentum going. During one meeting, Maya's best friend, Aisha, suggested they start a newsletter to keep everyone informed. "We can share updates, stories, and important information," she proposed. "That's a great idea," Maya exclaimed. "Let's call it Community Connections." With the name chosen, they got to work. They brainstormed articles about the police department's involvement, upcoming events, and safety tips. Maya even included a section for kids to share their thoughts and experiences. They printed copies and distributed them around the neighborhood. The response was overwhelming. People loved the idea and were eager to contribute. As they worked on the newsletter, Chief Daniels reached out to Maya again. "I've been hearing great things about your club," he said. "I'd like to invite you to speak at the next city council meeting. Your voice is important, and I think it would inspire others to join us in this mission." Maya's heart raced with excitement and nerves. "Really? I would love to," she replied. After hanging up, she turned to Aisha and the others. "I get to speak at the city council meeting. This is huge." "Wow, that's amazing," Aisha cheered. "You have to share our ideas." The night of the city council meeting arrived, and Maya felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. She and her friends dressed up and arrived at the city hall, where they were greeted by familiar faces. The room was filled with community members, and the atmosphere buzzed with anticipation. When it was time for Maya to speak, she took a deep breath and walked to the front of the room. "Thank you for having me. My name is Maya, and I want to talk about our community and how we can make it safer for everyone." As she spoke, she saw the council members listening intently. "A while ago, I had a bad experience with a police officer. But instead of staying quiet, I decided to speak up. With the help of my friends, we created a club to talk about our concerns and work together with our police department." Maya shared the successes of the Fun Day, the newsletter, and their plans for future events. "We want to build trust between the community and the police so everyone feels safe and heard," she concluded. "Together, we can make a difference." As she stepped down, applause filled the room. Maya felt a surge of pride and relief. She had shared her message, and it resonated with many. After the meeting, several council members approached her, expressing their support. "We need more young voices like yours in our community," one councilman said. With renewed energy, Maya and her friends continued their efforts. They organized another event, this time a safety workshop, where kids could learn about safety measures and understand the role of police in their community. They invited officers to share stories and answer questions in a friendly environment. The day of the workshop arrived, and excitement buzzed in the air. Families gathered at the community center, and officers set up booths with information. Maya greeted everyone with a big smile. "Thank you all for coming. Today, we're going to learn and have fun." The workshop was a hit. Kids played games, and officers explained their roles in keeping the community safe. Maya noticed how the kids interacted with the officers, asking questions and sharing their thoughts. It was a beautiful sight to see barriers breaking down and friendships forming. At one booth, Officer Davis was talking about fire safety. He engaged the kids with fun activities. "Fire safety is important. Who can tell me the first thing you should do if you see a fire?" he asked, and hands shot up in excitement. Maya watched as the kids learned and laughed, feeling grateful for the opportunity to bring everyone together. As the day wrapped up, Officer Davis thanked Maya for her hard work. "You're doing something special here, Maya. Keep it up." As the weeks turned into months, the club continued to grow, and more community members joined their efforts. They held monthly meetings to discuss new ideas and collaborate on projects. Maya's confidence blossomed, and she felt empowered to lead the charge for change. One evening, after a particularly productive meeting, Maya sat with her mother, reflecting on how far they had come. "Mom, I never imagined we could make such a difference," she said, beaming. "You've shown that even one voice can create a ripple effect." Sarah replied, pride shining in her eyes. "You're not just inspiring your friends. You're inspiring the entire community." With her mother's words in her heart, Maya felt ready to take on whatever challenges lay ahead. She had seen the power of unity and the strength that came from standing up for what was right. The fight for respect and safety was far from over, but Maya knew they would face it together, hand in hand. Facing challenges. As the months rolled on, Maya and her friends continued to lead their community efforts with enthusiasm and determination. The Community Connections newsletter became a staple, spreading news about local events, safety tips, and stories that highlighted the positive interactions between the police and community members. However, the road was not always smooth. Challenges began to arise that tested their resolve. One day, as Maya was preparing for an upcoming community meeting, she received a troubling message from Aisha. "Maya, you won't believe what happened. Some people are not happy with us. They think we're trying to create trouble instead of fixing things," Aisha wrote, concern evident in her words. Maya's heart sank. "What do you mean?" She replied quickly, eager to understand. Aisha explained that some community members had posted negative comments on social media, accusing them of trying to divide the community and undermine the police. Maya felt a wave of frustration wash over her. How could people think that? That evening, Maya gathered her friends for an urgent meeting. They'd met at Aisha's house, and the atmosphere was heavy with tension. "We need to talk about what's happening online," Maya began. "It's not fair that people are saying these things about us. We're trying to help. But what can we do?" Aisha asked. "If they don't want to listen, how can we change their minds?" Maya thought for a moment. "What if we invite them to our next meeting? We can explain our intentions and show them that we're not against the police. We want to build trust and understanding," she suggested. The idea sparked a glimmer of hope. They decided to create a special session for their next meeting, inviting those who had expressed concerns. "Let's call it Open Conversations," Maya proposed. "This way, we can hear their views and share ours." Over the next few days, Maya and her friends worked tirelessly to promote the meeting. They created flyers, posted on social media, and even reached out personally to community members. Despite their efforts, some people remained skeptical. On the day of the Open Conversations meeting, Maya felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. She hoped that enough people would show up to create a meaningful dialogue. As the time approached, she watched as community members trickled into the community center. Maya took a deep breath, preparing herself for what lay ahead. The room was buzzing with chatter as Maya welcomed everyone. "Thank you all for coming. We want to hear your thoughts and concerns about our community programs," she began. As the meeting progressed, some people shared their worries. One woman spoke about her fear of crime. "I just want to feel safe when I go out," she said, her voice shaking. Others echoed her concerns, worried about their families and neighborhoods. Maya listened carefully and acknowledged their feelings. "We understand your fears, and we want to help. That's why we started this club. We believe that by working together, we can create a safer community for everyone." Suddenly, a man stood up and said, "But how can we trust the police if they're just as likely to hurt our kids?" The room fell silent and tension filled the air. Maya knew this was a critical moment. "Thank you for sharing that," she replied, trying to remain calm. "I know there have been bad experiences, and those feelings are valid. But not all officers are the same. We've had positive interactions with many in our community, and we want to build on that." A heated discussion followed, with some supporting Maya's views while others remained skeptical. It was clear that change would not come easily. As the meeting continued, Maya encouraged everyone to express their thoughts openly. Slowly, the atmosphere began to shift. People started to share their stories, some positive, others painful. The walls of mistrust began to crumble, even if just a little. At the end of the meeting, Maya felt a sense of accomplishment. They had created a space for dialogue, and while there was still a long way to go, it was a step in the right direction. As people left, several approached Maya to express their appreciation. "Thank you for listening to us. It feels good to talk," one woman said. That evening, Maya reflected on the day. "We may not have solved everything, but we started a conversation," she told Aisha over a video call. "And that's important. We can't give up now." Over the next few weeks, the open conversations meetings continued, and attendance grew. People from different backgrounds came together to share their stories and build understanding. Each meeting was an opportunity to bridge gaps and foster trust. Maya and her friends also invited police officers to attend and participate in the discussions. At first, some officers were hesitant, but gradually they joined in, sharing their experiences and hearing community members' concerns. During one meeting, Officer Davis spoke passionately about his commitment to the community. "I want you all to know that we're here to protect you," he said earnestly. "I believe in working together, and I appreciate the chance to be a part of these conversations." As the relationship between the community and the police began to improve, Maya felt hopeful. They were building a network of understanding and respect, and it was beginning to show. The challenges they faced had only strengthened their resolve to create a better community. Maya knew that the journey was far from over, but with each step, they were making a difference. Together, they were proving that even in the face of adversity, unity and open communication could pave the way for change. As she drifted off to sleep that night, Maya dreamed of a future where every voice mattered and where their community would thrive as one. A new beginning. As the weeks turned into months, the relationship between the community and the police continued to evolve. The open conversations meetings had become a cornerstone of trust building, bringing together community members and officers in ways that had never happened before. Maya and her friends felt a sense of pride in the progress they had made, but they knew that real change took time and commitment. One sunny Saturday morning, Maya stood outside the community center, setting up for the first annual Unity Day Festival. She had envisioned this event as a celebration of the bonds formed between the police and the community. It would be a day filled with fun activities, food, and the opportunity for people to get to know one another better. As she arranged tables and chairs, excitement bubbled within her. "Hey, Maya, need some help?" Aisha called out, rushing over with a handful of colorful balloons. "Definitely. Thanks for coming early," Maya replied, grateful for her friend's support. They worked together, hanging decorations and setting up booths. As more friends joined in, laughter and chatter filled the air. As the event drew closer, the community rallied around the festival. Flyers were distributed, and word spread quickly. Maya had invited local vendors, musicians, and even the police department to set up booths. The goal was simple: to create an environment where people could connect, share stories, and build relationships. Finally, the day of Unity Day arrived. The community center parking lot was transformed into a vibrant festival ground, with colorful banners fluttering in the breeze. Families arrived with smiles, excited for the day ahead. Children ran around, their laughter ringing out as they played games and enjoyed the bounce house. Maya stood on a small stage, welcoming everyone to the festival. "Thank you all for coming. Today is about celebrating our community and the bonds we are building together," she announced, her heart swelling with joy. "Let's make this a day to remember." The crowd cheered, and Maya felt a wave of hope wash over her. She knew that they were creating something special. Throughout the day, people mingled, sharing food and stories. A local band played uplifting music, setting a cheerful atmosphere. Officers were present, not just in uniform, but as friendly faces engaging with the community. They participated in games and shared laughs, breaking down the barriers that had once separated them. Maya watched as a group of children played soccer with an officer, their laughter echoing around the field. She felt a warmth in her heart. This was what she had envisioned: people coming together, united in a common goal of understanding and respect. As the sun began to set, Maya gathered everyone for a closing ceremony. She invited Officer Davis to say a few words. He stepped up to the microphone, looking out at the crowd with genuine appreciation. "Today has been incredible," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "This is what community looks like. We are grateful for your support, and we promise to keep working together to build a safer, stronger neighborhood for everyone." The crowd erupted in applause, and Maya felt tears of joy in her eyes. It was a powerful moment of recognition, not just for the police, but for the entire community. As the festival came to an end, people lingered, unwilling to say goodbye. Conversations flowed, and new friendships were forged. Maya felt a sense of belonging that had once seemed so distant. In the following weeks, the momentum from Unity Day carried forward. Maya and her friends continued to organize events, building on the connections they had created. They introduced monthly potluck dinners, where community members could share their favorite dishes and stories. Each gathering reinforced the idea that everyone had something to contribute and that unity was possible. However, Maya knew that challenges would still arise. The journey of building trust was ongoing, and not everyone would be on board with the changes. Some people in the community remained skeptical, recalling the past incidents that had caused fear and mistrust. But Maya refused to be discouraged. With each positive interaction, she believed they were paving the way for a better future. "We can't change everything overnight, but we're making progress," she often reminded her friends. One day, while planning the next potluck, Maya received a call from a local news station. They wanted to feature Unity Day and the ongoing community efforts. Maya was thrilled. This was an opportunity to share their story and inspire others. When the day of the news segment arrived, Maya stood in front of the camera, her heart racing. "We are showing that communities can come together to build understanding and respect," she said passionately. "This is just the beginning for us, and we hope to inspire others to do the same." The segment aired the following week, and the response was overwhelmingly positive. People from neighboring towns reached out, wanting to learn more about the community's efforts. Maya felt a renewed sense of purpose as she realized their story was resonating beyond their neighborhood. With each passing day, Maya and her friends continued to push for change. They remained committed to their vision of a united community where everyone felt safe and respected. The bond between the police and community grew stronger, as trust replaced fear. As Maya reflected on their journey, she couldn't help but feel grateful. They had faced challenges, but through perseverance and determination, they had built something meaningful. She smiled, knowing that they had transformed their community into a place where everyone could thrive. The future was bright, and with every step forward, they were creating a legacy of understanding and unity. Maya looked forward to what lay ahead, confident that together they could overcome any obstacles and continue to inspire change in their community.